Hi everyone, our nature lesson today comes from Schellenberger Creek where I'm standing. And I have a question for you. What does this round piece of birch tree have in common with this creek and all its turns and bends and twists? Well, I want to tell you about that. Well, it turns out, if you remember in your geometry class, that there's a relationship between the circumference of a circle and the diameter. And so if you take a measurement all the way around and you divide that by the distance across, or the diameter, you'll end up with a very special number, just a little bit more than 3. In fact, that number is called pi. Not this pi, but this pi. 3.14159, and it keeps on going for a long time. But this very special number mathematicians call a constant, because that's just the way it is. It's always that way. If you've got something round and you do the math right, you're going to land up with the number pi. Well, it turns out that that number pi has something to do with this creek and all of the turns and twists. So I want to show you a little map here of our Sauble River up here that the Schellenberger Creek runs into, and you can see it's got all sorts of twists and bends. If you've canoed down the river, you know how bendy it is. It's true for all rivers in the world. They have this meandering path. Of course, it's not just left and right. You know that in some places it gets very deep in a river, and other places it's very shallow and almost sandbar, and you sometimes get your canoe stuck on it. But if you follow the path of a creek or a river, something very interesting happens. Let me show you. So I got my whiteboard here. I'm going to draw you a little picture. So imagine you're at Camp Sauble, and here's Lake Schellenberger. I'm not a very good artist. And then the creek starts that I'm standing in. I'm right about here, and it keeps going, and it gets into the Sauble River, and it keeps going all the way around till you get to the end. And our end here for this river is Lake Huron. Now, if you take this total distance that the water flows, remembering to count all the ups and downs as well as the lefts and rights, you get all the way to the end, you measure that, and you divide it by a straight line as if the crow was flying to there, the answer is pi. It's unbelievable that something like a round tree and a wiggly creek follow the same rules. Now, the number pi, mathematicians refer to as a constant, because it never changes. Same thing like gravity or the speed of light. God uses in his creation these constants. They're the rules that nature follows. But you know, the lesson I would like to point out is that there is a much more important constant than any of the ones that we've talked about, more important than pi. And that's the constant of God's love. There is nothing going on in the world, nothing that we can do that can separate us from the love of God. If we ask, he is there. God is love. He can't be anything else but love. That is his constant. And we can be sure of that even in these unsettling times. God is love. Thank you very much.